Okay. Hi and hello. Hello and welcome to the Tenaciously Resolute podcast. I'm your girl, Carice Nelson, and this evening with me, we are chatting live with Mr. Kerneal Charles. Kerneal, welcome to the podcast. How are you?
Well, it's a privilege to be here. Thanks for the invite.
Oh, that's
And
absolutely no problem.
we're looking forward to the discussion. Yeah, let's get this show on the road.
Awesome. So we here this evening talking about parenthood and youth work in the community. And we know this to be important because we definitely have to set the tone and the space for young people to develop in a positive light, right?
Definitely.
So we're talking about these things with the focus on the youth growing in an upwardly mobile way. So I want to know what's your experience with youth work and how did you even get into it?
Well, I grew up as a church boy. Everybody know that. And I found myself like going through the motion, going through the routine like this. Getting up, go to church, you sing, you do whatever you had to do in church and go back home.
All right.
There was no really, what they say, conviction, I should say. Because, we grew up in church. So, it come like, what God taking us out of as a
Okay.
youth.
So
It's
it was
very-
more like a church attendee kind of
So
situation.
and it's very easy for people who born and grew up in church to get lost even though they are in church.
Oh, that's
Right?
very interesting. So where would you place yourself then back then?
Well, lost and in church, basically going through the motion.
Okay.
I used to be going church, and then by the time church done Saturday night, turn bad.
Oh gosh,
You turn bad lime in here, there, and everywhere. So it's not till you really take stock of your life when I really started to get involved in ministry in terms of join the choir, and that is when things really start to change. That I wanted that change mentally to pledge doing what I was supposed to do. Really,
Yeah, well, I can
it was
really.
a struggle, yes. Much prayers, much buffing, much pulling up. But I just had to thank the older heads in the church,
Most definitely.
for the prayers, or what they say, buffing you. Although you will get vexed when they buff you,
Yeah.
when you're doing it wrong. But when you're in a quiet time, when I really think back,
The thing about it is not necessarily that they're saying something bad, we just didn't like the tone.
yeah.
You used to feel like you're being attacked, For one, I also grew up in the church, and I know what it's like to when you get that correction and those type of things. You're like, But as an adult now, you kind of look back and you're like, these people were absolutely correct. But I just didn't like how they talk with so much conviction. Why you had to talk so rough? You understand?
Because there was one incident where the boy go on the shade and get on.
Yeah.
As soon as I reached church the next day, I Ola head, one of my mentors now, pull me up hard.
Yeah,
Tell
man.
Me, he buffed me hard. I get it hard. I was vexed for a little bit, yes, but I was doing crap. So if you're doing crap, you have to get pulled up.
It's amazing how the news used to reach back home before you even reach home.
Yeah.
And we didn't really grow up in the speed of social media that we have
Definitely,
now.
yeah.
So imagine if we were reaching home before, well, the news reaching home before us.
That is, people, as Christians, people know what you're supposed to be doing. And people looking at you all the time. So once you slip up,
Yeah, boy.
you know your name gonna be dragged.
Absolutely. I think as Christians too, there's usually the line for you have to be drawn clear in the sand, and anything else, if the line start to look wavy, start to look shaky, it start to look muddy, everybody will have this view of you like, no, you're not on the straight and narrow, and if you are supposed to be the standard, how dare you,
Yeah.
Whatever message you have to carry, again, lost in the source because of what you're doing
Yes.
on the outside of that.
And we're talking about parenthood too. I know my parents always, they're always there praying for me, encouraging me. My late father always used to be encouraging me, do this and that. Although at first, you never used to really take them on because you want to line and balance. But in the end, once you grow up a child in the Lord,
they should not depart. Should not depart, right? Once the foundation laid.
Once the foundation is laid,
Yeah, well, I totally understand that. Yeah. But I mean, now you're a parent, right? Mm-hmm. What has that been like for you? Coming from having serious, I could say somewhat, well, from what you were saying, somewhat strict parents or religious parents, has that impacted your parenting style now? Is it similar, or being a millennial, does the things that the experiences that you would have had now impact on the way that you parent?
Well, I will say the basics are the same. My father, my parents always, encourage us to put Jesus first, everything else after. And that is what I with my daughter. The same emphasis that, we put on education, put on play, we put on extracurricular activities. I just try to put that same energy, that same emphasis in Jesus. In
absolutely.
God, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. And you know what? I feel like a lot of people may find that this Jesus thing as a young child is too much, but I feel like that is where you really learn the foundations,
And as well, people as we doing all kind of thing in a carnival at a very young age.
Exactly.
So why when you're in Jesus in a very young age, they're telling you you're too young?
Yeah.
Huh?
Yeah.
You said so for the little children to come on to me.
Exactly.
So, exactly.
So there's no too young of an age, really and truly. I think sometimes we tend to be, give the child a ease up, but really and truly, that's the time when you already learn the most about Christ. I mean, I know of persons years into adulthood, when you ask them, when last you go to church, they had to think in the last 3-4 years, but because they were growing up in church, if somebody is praying or somebody reads that scripture, you hear them regurgitating it because that was that came into play because when they were young, they were hearing it. Yeah. It comes from the environment.
But there had to be a balance to it. You can't be too strict.
You see that like you have some experiences there.
You can't be too strict. You can't be too sheltered because obviously you come out of the shelter sometime.
Yeah.
And when you come out of the shelter, you don't know what to do, you don't know how to act.
You have any experiences with that? What do you mean?
What they say, boy? Not me personally, but I see instances where people were very sheltered. Right? Well, I know I went to USC. People were very sheltered, and obviously they go down USC, and that was it.
That was it. Well, yeah, I feel like everybody would have heard these stories at this point.
And that was it. Because they were so sheltered. Sheltered when they go down there, like they chip off.
Yeah, so I think the freedom.
You have to get that balance. Church, social life, economy, spiritual. You have to get that balance. If you don't get that balance here or there, you got to tip over. Must tip over.
Okay. But in terms of how you raise your daughter now, is there any things that you implement now that you probably didn't experience growing up?
Yeah, well, my father was a teacher, principal, and he was the teacher of the year actually 1 year. So he was.
Wait, what's your dad's name?
Kerneal Charles.
Okay, yeah. All right, very nice.
So he was books, and books. Books and books. If you wanted to play a little football, but you ain't really studying that. Books, right? And I wish more emphasis was made in terms of me and sports. I think I would have reached far. I think I would have reached a little Olympics or something. Oh yeah,
you had some talent. If you guys it wasn't tapped into.
Yeah, so in my daughter now, I try to get her into any co-curricular activity that she likes. Later on, she'll focus on one or two.
Okay, very nice. That's a nice implementation of something that you didn't have that you really would, and you could tell because I remember when going to compre, I remember you were like older than me, and truly you were really, you seemed on the straight and narrow, big up the country alma mater. Right? But at the same time, I remember even for me, I was into sports, somewhat books and sports, and you really want to strike that balance. But truthfully, if you have strict parents, I had a strict aunt and a strict uncle, and they never used to play books. They never used to play with that, so I could relate with what you're coming from.
My parents were strict about because I was third child. I get plenty buffer from my brother and my sister. So by the time they reached by me, I was like, relax it the way you want this.
Yeah.
So because I right in the middle. 5 of us. Right in the middle.
Yeah, well, I think you get the ease past the middle child. Yeah. So how did you find yourself into youth work? Because I know I see you out and about doing kingdom business with young people. Yeah. And we see you at concerts, big groupings of young people. Yeah. And I'm like, I grew up in the church, your church, and I'm like, this never used to happen back in the day. You understand? Well, so what is happening now that has changed?
What to say? Well, when we were growing up, sometimes we get discouraged and stuff like that. I remember my father used to be telling me, be the change that you want to see. Right? So I took that up as a mantra, and being how I was in church, just going through the motion. Behind me was plenty young people coming up. Right?
And they
I didn't know that for them.
Yeah.
Right. So that is why even in church you have a position, you have in church that, so we have the youth arm in church, right? So I started that. I wasn't leader yet. I started as a secretary, and then I jumped to one of the program coordinators, and then to the head youth leader. So it's just to try and get the youths on track. You know, trying, cause out there are nothing for them.
Truly,
right?
Yeah.
And I experience out there and get to come back, right? If they go out there, they might not get to come back, right?
No, that's a very serious point, because I think that back in the day, experiencing outside, going out, hanging out, going to parties or whatever, it was still kind of safe. I mean, the touch of drugs was still there, but it wasn't as rampant, and the alcohol was still there, but you had your head on. I feel like because we know that we parents had, they would have blown you out.
What shook us up as a church? We had a young boy was in church, Kerneal Charles, and he was like me. We grew up in church and stuff like that. He had a lot of Adventist friends in the community, so he will bring them to church. He will bring them to when we have camp and stuff. So this All Year's night, we have our service and stuff like that. His friends came, he didn't came. Right?
Okay.
You want to know about where he is, right? He went Shade.
Okay.
Right? And on his way back from Shade, he got into an accident, and that was it.
Wow.
So that really shook us up. That really said, now we have to do things different around here. Right? Because the youth could be injured and lost.
That's true.
So, and up to this day, if I'm like themselves, catch yourself yet. I used to tell you.
Yeah, because
he had a real
potential.
Real potential. And that is, even yesterday I was talking to a guy in church, Carlos, and he was saying that is what the devil wants. The devil wants you to get you away from church, and while you are away from Jesus, that is when he wants to
swoop in and get you out.
Because if you kill her while you're away from God, you have no hope.
You're telling me?
That is, the devil just want to kill. He want to steal, and he want to destroy. And we have to be real in letting the youths know that.
Yeah, because the truth about it is sometimes I sit down and I wonder, the music that's being played and the type of activity young people getting themselves involved in. And I'm not saying young people like if I'm not a young person, but I'm just saying that it kind of concerning, because these days, when you notice the deaths, we could even reference it last month.
Yeah.
You know how much deaths Belgrove seeing, Divine Solace seeing, Andy's seeing. When you check it, is a set of young people that you are seeing on these flyers and these invitations
Definitely.
going out, and it's insane. And to me it's very concerning.
Very.
It's not just insane because you are grieving not just the fact that our life is lost, but you're grieving the fact that they never were able to actualize their true potential.
Yeah, so you have to be with the youths, as my people who were around me at the time were real with me, right? From sex to everything, real with me. So I was able to make better decisions. Sometimes people just want to tell them, you just want to cover it, pacify it in a kind of way.
Yeah, but not
right?
making any sense to the younger generation now.
You're feeling this urge to do something. I want to go here and there. No longer we just pray about it and then nah. We have to do things different. We need to pray about it, yes, but we have to get some actions.
Listen to me. I would never forget. It's dead. I would never forget growing up. Serious conversations like sex. What to do about it? You're asking in the church. Pray about it. Take a cold shower. Like, what are doing for you?
Yep. And what is also taboo is counseling, right? Counseling, and I want to endorse that, because sometimes they may not be able to. You said myself know where you feel or where it's coming from. But when you go to counseling, you might be able to... You're
able to dig a little bit deeper and uncover some of the issues that you've been facing.
Definitely.
No, and I totally support counseling. I think that everybody should see a counselor. Yeah. Everybody in their own independent way. Even if you feel that you're good.
Yes.
Still see a counselor or a therapist, just in case, because you can never really tell if there are some underlying factors that would contribute to the way that you behave or the way that you think about certain things, because for me personally, it was only until I matured I realized, but wait, some of the thoughts that I'm having in my mind, they are not my thoughts. Like, I need to challenge some of these beliefs or some of the ways that I would look at things, because truly I am defeating myself in my mind even before I do an action, or I might be mulling over things in my mind, or arguing, having full-blown arguments. God forbid you meet me in the road. I did not plan for you since morning. You understand me?
Yes.
So imagine that. And I believe a lot more people, these things are happening, but we just don't talk about it.
Yeah. And what's very important as well, you see a circle you have around you. You see a circle. Even when I was going through the motion, when I was going to my little party and my little Lyman thing, my circle was still a good circle.
Yeah.
Right? My circle was still a good circle. Never encouraged me to do anything really wrong. And some when they're buying the drinks, they go buy the beers and things for them, but they're buying the malt for me and stuff. And I can't drink out a whole case of malt.
You had to big up them because guess what? They were looking out for you.
Definitely they were looking out for me. So my circle was always kind of intact. Even now, so more than ever. You see a circle intact. So you have to be careful of your friends, right? I know some people that say so-called friend, but you know not so-called. If there is a friend, there's a friend.
Exactly.
Right? So you have to be very careful of the circle you have around you.
I think that caution is one thing, but I feel that even deeper is that your circle changes. People can make decisions today that can impact you tomorrow. Definitely. Or tonight, as a matter of fact.
Definitely.
And it could be the same friends that you considered as good. Yeah. You understand? Especially now where crime is rampant on the island. You may have a friend that all of you grew up in church or you grew up in community, and you say, this is a good person, that my dog, that my brethren. And that person made one choice last night that would have connected them to some people that you're not aware of, and they may not disclose it to you, and that can hit you. You know how we like to say wrong place, wrong time? And that's the realities that we're living in, because sometimes on this island, crime is one person away from you. You understand? You're looking at your friend's status and is your friend brother or your friend's sister, or sometimes you know the person and you're like, wait, for the real, for true? Since when? And it's so surprising now.
Yeah.
So
surprising.
I mean, where youth work and these type of things are concerned is so essential now, because if you don't step in, if young people don't work with younger people, they would literally just be lost into the system. So I know that you've been doing the work, but how long? How long have you been involved, and has it been? How has it been?
What to say? Work. A good while, you know. A good while since I in high school is youth work, but not really the serious youth work. I would say past 5 or 6 for the past 5 or 6 years. As in women in the youth work about 5 or 6.
Has it been fulfilling? What stood out to you?
What stood out to me is the amount of the need that is in the community, that is in communities. People need basic needs. It was when we as a church did the drive with the bread and the water and stuff. It was very alarming to see, the level where some persons are living at. It was a bit overwhelming, because we said, wow, it's like we'll make a dent in this thing yet, boy.
Wow. So, and that was just bread and water alone you all were distributing?
Bread and water. I know people were very grateful, very, very grateful. No one turned us away. No one. People were very grateful for it, and people suffering out here,
Yeah, I don't doubt you. I really don't doubt you.
So, as a church, we said we had to do a part. That is, we commissioned to go out in the world, not to just preach and
not to stay in church.
But we had to take care of the needs of the people, and even to the sponsors. Some of the people I linked with were not even Adventists. Some not even Christians. I reach out, and will everyone willingly, look at 100, look at 200.
Yeah.
So in terms of, as we were discussing before, in terms of like raising funds per se, we don't have to, we'll say we're going to get a breakfast sale for this. You just reach out to people, and support is very, very overwhelming. Even now you're passing people, when I'm doing something again, I'm ready to contribute. So
that's the energy though, eh?
Yeah.
That is the energy. Yeah. I like to see that, because at the end of the day, sometimes we feel like, if we start up this thing, how are we gonna get the funds? And you overthink it. But I believe if you're blessing others, it's easier to beg for other people than for yourself. Trust me when I tell you.
Yeah.
Trust me when I tell you, it is better, because people say, okay, no, this is for a greater purpose. Yeah. So let me contribute.
Definitely. So that was really good. We had the march to the village sometime gone there. My sister spearheaded that one.
When you said the village, which village are you referring to?
Talking about Plymouth. My sister spearheaded that one under the women's ministry department in the church. That was well done as well, well received from the community. So we're just trying to impact the community in a positive way, because the devil impacting it in a negative way. Once there's light, there's darkness.
Of course.
So we have to try to eradicate that darkness with Jesus all the time.
Yeah, and I feel you on that, sir. Yeah. But I know, how are the kids receiving it? Are they excited for these things?
Definitely.
Are they incorporated?
Yeah, we have toys for the kids on all the drives, right? So they were the kids came out first, right? Because when people be a bit shy when they hear the Adventists coming around, or they will be a bit shy to look out. They say, what do you have for we again? What do you have to tell we again? But when they realize on physical need now, they came around. And even after that, when we come back to talk about them, about their life, different situations, we talk about them, about Jesus and stuff like that, they're very welcoming. Very welcoming. So it's a love relationship with us and the community right about now.
Very nice. Yeah. I love to hear it. I feel as though sometimes when people coming around and calling you, they always have this apprehension, to start. But I tend to often look at not just the religions that are commonplace, but even those that we don't really know much about. Islam have been doing that for years, reaching into the communities and assisting people buy food stuff, this sort and the other.
Yeah.
And then when we have the embedded religions in the community, the Seventh-day Adventists, the Pentecostals, the Jehovah Witness, I mean, these are embedded, the Baptists, you name it. These are religions that exist in the Tobago space. When they call you by your house, if you see duck, if you see people, and all they know that is true, people just duck by the window.
All the time.
You understand? But I feel like when these drives are ongoing, where they're trying to give social support, sometimes you duck in and you don't realize it's block your blessing there, because they're actually here to kind of help you,
Definitely.
you know?
Yeah. And even on the march that we had, you know, wasn't just an Adventist march, right? Other religions were with us as well.
Yeah, that's good.
To help the community. Adventists alone can't do it.
Exactly.
I mean, all hands on deck.
Have to be on deck. And you know, not just the religious community, but we also need to consider the business community and all the other social agents.
They were there as well. You know, the business community. Anytime we go out, you know, it's a business community we're using for our electricity. You know, so yeah, business community, they're on board, they sponsored some stuff and things as well.
But Kerneal, your operations is considered in an area that is highlighted as a crime hotspot. How has it been for you as per safety? And outside of that, is it concerning?
What to say? It's concerning, yes, but in terms of safety, fear for your life, not really, because I mean, most our family, well, I grew up in Plymouth, right? So it's not like a unfamiliar face. The church members are familiar, are outside in the village as well. So it's not like you're not feeling safe, because our family, all over Plymouth basically, Goat Rock, family girl who got shot, that is actually one of my cousins.
Oh my gosh.
Right?
Please accept my condolences.
You know, so in terms of safety, nah, we safe. Yeah. We safe when we go outside.
All right, nice. Yeah. And it's because you all have that foundation built into the community. Yeah, but the situation, the crime itself, though, as a child coming up, you must have seen the jump in the rates.
Yeah.
How you feel about it?
It's very, very concerning. Sometimes I feel they're taking one step forward and 3 steps back. But you still have to be encouraged. You know, you have to realize the work is not yours. What you're doing is the Lord's work.
It's true.
So you have to keep at it. You have to keep at it. And you know, where you don't know, it mightn't be a fruit now. But way down the road, it might be a fruit.
Yeah, and I mean, you have to look at it like that, because you can't plant today and dig up back today, you know.
And it's easy to get discouraged as well.
How not to get discouraged, you know? If you don't put your full faith in God, if you're really looking at it as though it is your actions and only on your strength, I could see that it would be difficult, you know. But sometimes you really have to really just allow that faith to go in front, you know.
When you realize it's not your work, you're doing the Lord's work, you just have to do what you have to do, yes. And the blessings will come.
All right. So are there any youth programs that you all do on an annual basis? How does it look like?
Yes. Well, the drive that we did with the bread and water and toys and stuff, that is an annual thing, right? We're trying to be done biannually, twice per year. So we have one coming up again, maybe early next year, January.
Okay.
Right. Well, the usual VBS, we had that some years back, and we have something called the Sunshine Ban, where anyone in the community, if they're doing casting, if they want, they have to be cut or anything, we come in and just fix them up one time.
Seriously, so you all do actually go to people's homes and clean up and what?
Yeah, once we know that there's construction going on, they need help. The young men, just coming out and handle the scene.
Wow. Well, that's a really excellent venture because
and
I mean
that's going on, and that has been going on long time.
And you see now nobody knows. I don't feel like if I've ever heard, well, personally, I've never really heard of like a group doing that, but that's a really good thing to be to do in general. I mean, I hope that more people do it. You know.
And the hamper drive that goes on month after month. Without hampers, if anybody have any need, just you see somebody just put it in the church chat or in the board chat or whatever, and people just bring stuff and handle the scene one time.
All right, very nice. So I want to jump back onto the topic of parenting.
Yeah.
Being a millennial parent, right? What are some of the things that you see that other millennial parents do in terms of their personal parenting that you would consider to be concerning as a parenting style? I see now that we have gentle parenting as popular parenting style. I see well, you know, in the American system, absolutely no corporal punishment, but we didn't grow up in the Caribbean with those type of habits. So what do you think about it?
What to say? Time and place for everything. There obviously there are times when they had to use the rod, as you say. But, you know, the rod do have to be a physical rod. You know, there are different ways of disciplining your children. Whether it be them a slap or you ban them from something. You know, so you have to find the way that works to your child. Because you know some children you beat them from now till tonight. And nothing ain't changing.
Nothing ain't changing, you know,
at all. Sometimes you have to find, okay, all right, ban from this tablet from so and so time to so and so time, and who knows, you might see a difference. But the thing is, getting it from young. You know, sometimes your child will be acting up when they're small and hearing people saying they got great out, but they're going it in. You understand me? By the time them turn big teenagers and things,
you can't correct that, you know.
You can't correct it. So you have to get it from small. And if you get it from small, right, you don't need to really get on bad and you know, obviously at times they might go left at times, but you know, it could be easier to bring them back early
rather than later. Because you're seeing parents squaring up with their children now, you know, like full on square up.
Yeah, and as well, you know, parents want to be friends with their children.
Is that a good or a bad thing?
Huh?
Is that a good or a bad thing? Because I know a long time parents used to be like, oh, I'm not your little friend.
I'm not your friend, I am your parent.
Who would tell you that?
You and your child could be good, yes, but at the end of the day, you are the parents.
Exactly.
Understand me? You are the parent.
I think that sometimes, like in this day and age, you see people fail to lay down the law. Like there always have to be some sort of boundary, you know, between adults and children until they become full-grown adults and are able to navigate on their own. Yeah. You have to maintain this boundary because these children, you know, sometimes the decisions that they make and then try to involve you is like, what?
Yeah, and they're very smart. This generational children, they're very, very smart. So you have to be on top of your game as well. You have to be on top of your game.
Of course.
So you have to be on top of your game with Facebook. All the social, you have to be on top of your game. And because there are predators on the social media, right?
Telling me about it. And those were things that we never had to go through as children growing up.
So them could come in, a child chat, come in while a child doing something and start the scene one time. So you have to be very careful. You have to know these platforms. Because many parents don't know these platforms. Many parents might not know these platforms. The older parents might not know these platforms, and the children, they fall.
And more platforms are being added because we would know the Facebook, the Instagram, the Twitter, the TikTok, you know. But I see somebody sent me a link for a children's platform, and I was like, wait, what is this? A pink platform that looking like TikTok. I can't remember what is the name of it, if it's IC or whatever, you know? And I'm like, the little children under the age of 12 dancing up. And when you look in the comments, it's some grandpa, some old
So,
European grandpas, and God knows what happening in their DMs.
You have to be on top of the game with them.
Imagine somebody sending stars to your child to dance on the internet. Understand? That's crazy.
You have to be good and you have to be bad. So you just have to know how to navigate it. So you get the most benefits out of it.
Yeah. I feel parents, we might need to do an updated course of parents. Look out for this. This mean this. Because I feel like even now, millennials struggle to keep up with the Gen Z and the Gen X slang. They just be talking and I just be like, somebody could explain this to me, like if you're reading Braille and they want to and we ain't even that old. I mean, like 30 in your 30s is not bad. And you could tell how much your generations are divided in this little space. It's so unique. I can imagine how much our parents feel in comparison to looking at us. To them, it's like a totally different
person.
Different. But it's good to know that, you know, the conversations are happening and parents are hopefully taking stride of what is happening on the social media and those type of things. Right? So let's look to round out the podcast. We've been here for a little while. And I think I would like to hear some closing words to you. What are some advice that you think that parents should add to their parenting portfolio as a young person, especially if you're an older parent and you're out of the loop?
Well, as I said, as I said before, you know, train up a child in the way she should go. Right? And you know, that is my mantra, that is my motto, that is my pledge, that is everything. Right? Family worship, very important.
Absolutely.
Right? Very important. Don't chunks on that at all.
Absolutely. Right? Don't drop the catch on it at all.
Praying with your child, very important. Right? Just cover them. Just cover, because you know they're going and meet some dread ones out in the schools.
You're telling
right?
me?
So train them up in the way should go. They go slip and fall. They go do all kind of crap. But at the end of the day, they have a larger possibility chance to come back and find themselves inside. You know, that is basically it.
Well, here's what I wanted to, and right before we close, I want to ask you this last question. In our pre-interview discussion, we were talking about, you know, parents now moving to pursue tertiary education. And we have an epidemic of children parenting themselves between 2:45 to 8 o'clock.
Yeah.
What is your recommendations? Because I mean, how are you supposed to navigate something like that?
Yeah, because I mean, you want to better yourself, yes.
Yeah.
But at what expense?
At what cost? Even the word to say count the cost, but how to count this one?
Cost? So it's a very tricky situation because you know you want to get out of the salary bracket or you want to, because I mean after school is still tertiary education for your child and you want to be able to send them.
And you have to be able to finance it.
You want to go to for yourself to make things better. You know, so it's a very ticklish situation. If you know you could find someone who is very trustworthy.
Yeah.
Right?
How about aunties and uncles and things and you know grandparents, because that's what we used to do long time. Yeah. You think that in this day and age is something that people should still consider doing? The fact that you laugh tells a story in itself.
You want to say, boy? Some uncles and aunts and uncles and aunts, you know? Some uncles and aunts are predators. You know?
That is true. Big facts.
Big facts. So that is a very ticklish one.
Yeah, because I mean, on one hand we want to have community. On the other hand, and when we have community, we'll have some support. Yeah. Because you could have go down by your tanty and then in a long time, but no, it's risky business.
Definitely, risky business.
So which one are you to do? Leave the children at home unsupervised? Because clearly you don't have the money to send them.
And if they leave them unsupervised, there is a charge.
There's a charge, right?
There is a charge.
So you're risking on one end to benefit on the other, but at the same time, if you do it right, it's still a potential risk.
It's still a potential risk. You have to cover your child, yes. You have to cover your child because there are risks all over the place.
Exactly.
There are risks all over the place. And family planning is important. Planning to have a child is important. You know, can have a child when you're stable. I know things happen. Things happen where you don't plan for a child and the child came.
Yeah.
So
well, if you're doing adult activities, children are the byproduct. So, you know, you made up your mind, you made a decision. We taking accountability on this podcast. You made up your mind, you made a decision, we had it fun, and then we have results that are positive.
Yeah.
You have to move on from there.
Have to move on.
Right? So I feel like though that there might be some persons that can wait, if this is your immediate position, you still have to make do in your circumstance. In my mind, I'm thinking that there's a gap in the support structure that something has to be done in the middle there to kind of fill in the blank.
Yeah. Because these times are selfish times. You understand? These times are selfish times. Nobody going out their way to look at nobody anymore. People inside the house door, inside they don't care who walk on the road or anything. So if we try to have that community vibe, that community feeling, and that is what we trying to do, implement in a sense. That community vibe, everybody should be able to lean on each other. If you want, you could be able to lean on the church. If you want to lean on Adventist, you could go and lean on the Pentecostal church. You could go and lean on the political representative in your community. So that is the kind of vibe we want to encourage.
Yeah, and you know what? Fair enough. I think that as a young person, I personally would like to see more structure, and I think that it requires each person to put their hand towards towards the duty. I mean,
all hands on deck.
All hands on deck.
All hands on deck. Everybody needs somebody sometime.
Absolutely. So, guys, we can't leave no one by the wayside. And I think that this discussion was necessary and very, very timely. Right? So, Kerneal, it was amazing having you on set.
Yeah, man. We started talking, we done already.
And I'm telling you, because the time is going.
Next time, man.
Yes, and you are always welcome back again, right?
I'll get the education experience next time.
All right, so when you return, guys, look out for Kerneal on his return. We'll have some more episodes loading for you. And thank you so much for tuning in. It's bye from now at the Tenaciously Resolute set.
In the den.
Stay tenaciously resolute, and we look forward to seeing you next week. Big up the den, by the way.
Definitely.
Big up. Have a good week ahead. Bye-bye.